company based out of the UK, founded in 2010, and founded by a British Royal Naval Sergeant who had a grandfather who was an engineer and built bridges. Their last name is Beaver, so if you're wondering what the heck's the deal with BeaverFit, people always kind of like poke fun at the name, but the last name of the founder is Beaver, Tom Beaver. That was the success that they had with container-based mobile gyms within the military was transplanted and brought to the U.S. by two U.S. Navy SEALs, Alex Roodhouse and Mike Taylor. In 2014, they just continued to grow and expand on their capabilities. Started with, pull-up bars attached to the outside of an 8x20 shipping container, but then started to expand into facilities and obstacle courses, focusing primarily, the military audience. Headquarters are based out of Reno, Nevada, and in the past 2 years, BeaverFit, we've really tried to step into the commercial space. 80% of the business from 2014, for 5 years was DoD, U.S. military. Starting in 2019, 18 and 19, started to transition into more commercial applications, and in the spring of 2020, BeaverFit acquired the company that I started back in 2014. I started mobile fitness equipment in 2014 in the Massachusetts area, and I was really focusing on these 3 core products built around, portability. I also competed against BeaverFit as the owner of mobile fitness on DoD contracts. They always clobbered me, but I occasionally would catch some breadcrumbs, occasionally catch them sitting back on their heels and undercut them. And kind of fast forward to present day, upon BeaverFit acquiring Mobile Fitness, the company that I started, they onboarded me as head of new product development and head of this product category that we call mobile solutions, this being kind of like the signature product. So it's a good segue, I guess you could say, in focusing on the product here and the tech specs and some of the logistics. So it's considered in the class of cargo trailers and fully enclosed, designed to be fully weatherproof, and they, in the industry, typically refer to the width and length. This here as a 6 by 10, so 6 feet wide, here to here. That 6 feet doesn't factor in the wheels. The wheels will add, an additional foot or so. So tire to tire outside footprint, you're looking at pretty close to 8 feet. And then as far as the length dimension is concerned, from the rear of the trailer here, not to the peak of the V, but the actual corner is your 10 feet. The V adds an additional 2 feet, bringing you up to 12, and then the tongue an additional 2 feet, bringing you up to 14. So you get about 8 by 14 altogether. It's built on a 5,200 pound single axle, without any equipment in it, weighs around between 1,000 and 1,200 pounds. But then as soon as we install all of our inners and storage consoles, compartments, and then load out accessories, you're looking at close to, 3,000, 3,500 pounds. We try to keep this model as kind of like our mid-size so that it is as versatile as possible, so that, most SUVs, pickup trucks can tow it without the need for, souped up towing package. So the first thing, in regards to actually using this day in and day out, obviously the first things that you consider are the environment, and we've had in some applications, depending on the weather, people decide to just push through rain, snow, sleet, hail, because this concept was born out of New England. I came up with it back in 2016, and a lot of people told me, hey, great idea, cool concept, but go to California, go to Texas, go to Florida. And so I kind of stiff-armed that perspective by saying, hey, if it can go and be successful in New England, it's just gonna be that much easier for folks that don't have, weather constraints. So that's kind of a discretionary thing, is like, based on your audience, your business model, your risk assessment, whether or not you decide to tell people to kind of like adapt and overcome and toughen up. Or if it's smarter from a business standpoint to just steer away from inclement weather and rain and things like that. I can say that one thing that's important is assessing the slickness of the ground. You obviously, if you have a suspension trainer on the rear pull-up bar and you get someone leaning back to do rows, then you've got a slip hazard that you want to avoid. In most cases, setting up on solid, firm, dry ground like this is kind of ideal, and level as possible is kind of like step one when you're considering setup. And then we have, depending on the event or the application, some people decide to keep their trailer hitched to their tow vehicle all the time. Most of those customers or end users are personal trainers that have a model built around going around a neighborhood and just going door to door, almost like a landscaping service would. You know, doing driveways and pulling up to garages and roll the garage door up and just get after it, pack up, go to the next spot. But if what it sounds like, Brian, you're saying comes to fruition, this is likely going to stay off a tow vehicle, which I would say is ideal, because then you have kind of more of a full 360-degree perimeter training environment. I found that staying hooked onto your vehicle kind of poses a bit of an obstruction if you wanted to do kind of like a musical chairs merry-go-round circuit. So this is ideal. Back on terrain though, aside from solid, firm, dry, you want to look at, you know, when you're considering where to drop this, obviously the more level you can set up, the better. And when you step back away, it seems as though, you know, first thing you want to assess is to what degree there's pitch or gradient, right? And I'm already seeing kind of from this tree, it's a gradual downward pitch this way. So I already know as soon as I unhitch from my vehicle and I'm looking to level off the deck, which is kind of step one after you unhitch, that I'm going to be able to come, you guys can kind of follow me and go through this kind of fluid. If at any point you guys want me to stop or you got specific questions, don't hesitate.